Now that my congressional representatives have decided to outlaw the social media app TikTok in order to protect me from China or whatever, I've decided to spend a bit more time there to see, what I'm being protected from. And it seems to be mostly trends that teenagers like to do, things like synchronized dances and food challenges and pranks and sinking $1 million luxury yachts off the Iberian coast, sending the billionaire occupants screaming into the raging seas. Oh, sorry, that last one isn't actually human teenagers. It's Orcan teenagers. Orcan, it's an adjective now. Just go with it. So if you're a fan of this channel, you already know about our socialist Orca comrades who have been attacking luxury yachts for several years now. As much as I love a good trashy episode of Below Deck, I do acknowledge that luxury yachts are an environmental disaster. Just look at this chart of how many carbon emissions billionaires emit. For most of them, yachts are by far the worst offenders, beating out their mansions, their cars, and even their private jets and helicopters. I assume that the only people on that list who don't have yachts as their top polluter just can't swim. For instance, Bill Gates doesn't even own a yacht, even though he takes private jets everywhere. Instead, he still doesn't come close to the pollution emitted by the billionaires who do have yachts. So considering that luxury yachts are a not insignificant driver of climate change, and considering that the billionaires who own them are objectively terrible for humanity and for the planet in myriad ways, it was thrilling to see what appeared to be a threatened species fighting back. By 2020, biologists were noticing a severe uptick in interactions between orcas and boats, particularly off the coast of Portugal, Spain, and Morocco, and particularly involving the whales ramming the rudders of the boats. And by the way, I'm just going to keep using boat and ship and whatnot interchangeably here. If you're a boat person, I'm sorry if that makes you angry. I cannot bring myself to care. Though they did sink several of the boats, no humans have been killed in any of these quote-unquote attacks, thus maintaining the killer whale's perfect streak of never actually killing a human in the wild, where orcas belong. At the time, some researchers said that there was one juvenile female in the group who had been injured by a propeller, and they suspected maybe she was teaching the other orcas to attack the boats as revenge. One orca did have lacerations that appeared in 2020. That orca's name is White Gladys, ironically the same name as the troublemaker at my grandmother's retirement home. But the revenge story was getting so much play in the news that a bunch of other researchers had to put out an open letter begging people to please stop saying that, because there was actually no evidence suggesting that that's what was happening. It was a classic post hoc ergo propter hoc fallacy. This orca seems to have been damaged by a propeller, and now her pod is attacking propellers, so those two things must be related. They don't. They don't need to be related. In fact, the signers of that letter mentioned that we already know that orcas are, much like humans, super into fads. They point to the summer of 1987 when one orca near Puget Sound was observed wearing a dead salmon on top of her head. And, as a little hat. And soon after that, orcas in 2 other pods were spotted doing the exact same thing. It was the hottest trend amongst the orcas of that area all summer long. But by the end of the summer, the fad appeared to be over and the fashion world moved on. Though it is worth noting that apparently the same thing happened again in 2008. And then in 2018, researchers at Oceanwise Research observed a juvenile orca goofing off with his mom in a very similar way with a dead salmon. So, maybe it's true that all fashion is cyclical. Don't throw away those dead salmon hats, ladies. Keep them in the back of the closet just in case. So is it revenge for excess consumption? Is it revenge for a propeller injury? Or is it just a fad? Well, the International Whaling Commission has concluded after years of research that the answer is, in fact, probably just a goofy fad. They found no evidence of aggression in these whale boat interactions. Like, yes, the people on board the boats were very scared, but the whales were just having a good time. If the whales were truly attacking in the way they might, go after and hunt an animal, way more boats would be on the bottom of the seafloor right now. They also found that the incidents seemed to be limited to juvenile whales, with a few mature females occasionally watching nearby. That suggests that it's something that they grow out of, just like human adults grow out of the trends that they thought were cool when they were kids. Hopefully. In a way, this is good news, because if humans think that an apex predator is indiscriminately hunting and attacking them, the humans tend to think that that gives them a good excuse to slaughter the predators indiscriminately, historically speaking. Since this is most likely just a trend amongst juvenile orcas, there's a much easier, less bloody way to fix all this, which is the same way, adult humans can easily stop annoying trends amongst human children. Make it less fun. Make it less cool. In the case of humans, for instance, you as an adult can do this by simply repeating the trend back to the child. Yes, Jaden, your Riz is mid, even though you thought it was snatched. Skibbity, etc. They will be appropriately disgusted by that and move on to new fads because you've just ruined that one. Like, seriously, Colbert made a satire of Skibbity Biden, and now I'm pretty sure that meme is radioactive to any kid who actually wants to seem cool. In the same vein, the IWC recommends that owners update their boats to make them less fun for orcas to ram into. The objective of mitigation approaches is to assist in eliminating or at least minimizing the satisfaction or reward the whales obtain from this behavior in an effort to extinguish it, they write. They suggest that mariners simply avoid the areas where the pods are, but also to consider alterations like rudder modifications to either protect it or make it unpleasant to a whale, distractions, e.g. providing a stimulus away from the vessel more attractive to a whale than the rudder. The whales have been seen playing with rudder pieces once it breaks and leaving the vessel. Or deterrence, a stimulus, perhaps acoustic, that has a stronger negative component than the attraction of the rudder, provided it has no lasting adverse effects. Given the whale's motivation is not related to survival or reproduction, perhaps mildly uncomfortable deterrence would work. While it might be just a little disappointing that the orcas are not joining in on our righteous cause to eliminate the world's billionaires, you can take solace in a bit of cosmic justice, I noticed. The IWC experts suggest that climate change could be playing a role in the orcas interacting with yachts, leading to tuna, the tuna that they eat, being in the Gulf of Cadiz continuously rather than seasonally. This year-round abundance means that there appears to no longer be a need for the whales to pursue every fish encountered. If so, we can follow that to its logical conclusion. The billionaires responsible for climate change are also responsible for this pod of orcas now having so much free time that they got bored and started attacking the billionaires. And that's pretty funny if you ask me. Hey everybody, thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a like. If you loved the video, please subscribe. And if you think the world could use more videos like this and you happen to have a few bucks laying around, head to patreon.com/Rebecca and join an awesome community of nerds like the people whose names you see on the screen right now. Thanks.